Welcome to the Six Figure Business Mastery Podcast, where every week, Kirsten and Jeanne dive into the essential topics to fuel your business growth. From copywriting to course creation, mindset to video marketing, they've got you covered. Tune in for expert guest interviews on all things marketing and business, and learn how to work on your business, not just in it. So, get ready to unlock your business potential and take it to the next level.
So welcome everyone to our newest episode. We are thrilled to introduce to you our special guest. Her name is Jen McAllister. Her company is Rise CPA and Accountants. She is the CPA and owner of Rise, and she says her attitude is the real job is not in accounting, but rather helping others rise. So I love that concept. So welcome, Jen. We're thrilled to have you here.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be with you today.
It's exciting because I feel like you are so personable, and I love your attitude that it's not just like about doing the work that you do for your clients, but it's really helping to educate them and helping them to rise up in their business. And I'm looking forward to just learning more about how you go about that and what you feel like is the most important thing for business owners. Where do they start when it comes to mastering their finances, getting confident with their numbers, and that's the foundation of being able to grow their business, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll first say, give you a little bit of background. A question was posed not too long ago. What did you want to be when you were younger? And policeman, fireman, different things, a ballerina that people would say. And I was kind of stumped. And I was thinking, well, I never really thought about anything other than being a mother. And then I really sat in that and I was like, why was that like my ultimate goal, to be a mother? And then I started thinking about the attributes of a mother. And that is to patience, you're teaching, you're loving, you're caring for. And then suddenly it hit me that really that motherly attitude is what has been with me all of my career, all of my life, really. Even in the corporate job that I was let go of, which I will tell you, that's story about how I am where I am now. But really in that corporate position, what I loved so much is, so I was the first one, and I was able to identify, hire, train, and just really take pride in developing someone in the position. And in the company I'm in now, I've got 6 women, and I also love to, we'll say, be motherly. And so I just thought that was kind of interesting that even as a kid, that motherly instinct, it still shows itself today. And like you said, it's about connections with people, and it all just ties together. That's where I find my greatest happiness and strength and fulfillment, is literally like helping other people. So with that, I'll tell you, I was with a corporation for quite a few years, and I felt like the mother of the company. Other people would come to me, ask for advice, even outside of the accounting department. And I really felt I was the glue. And for some unfavorable circumstances, men kept their job that had no better training than I, and I lost my job. And this kind of rolls into my mindset and just figuring it out, which is, at that time, I had a choice to make, which was I can pursue some legal action, which I did have a wrongful termination case, but they said that's hard to do. And so within 24 hours, I had made this decision to, instead of pursuing a negative course, which in my opinion was you'd be angry and thinking about all the wrongs that had been done, or I could focus on moving forward. And that's the name, Rise. And what it means to me is a movement upward. And it's helping myself, my clients, and my team, and really all around me to rise. And it was interesting because it was that by morning, I knew the name of my company was Rise. There was no question, could it be this or this? But it was definitely Rise. And with that day, so it was Friday morning, and I decided, here we go. We're going to start this company. I registered with the state, or registered with the IRS. So Friday, I was official. Over the weekend, I thought, well, I've got to have a website. I've never, ever even tried to build a website, because it's not what I do. I'm an accountant. But I was faced with this, I need to have a website. I don't have the funds. So just figure it out.
So how did you go from having a company of just you to having these 6 other women working with you? Because that's all happened in the past 2 years, right?
Yes. Great question. So when I was let go, and because I had created these great relationships with those that I worked with, automatically 3 of the women said, please, as soon as you can take us, please bring us on. And I thought that was so wonderful for so many reasons. There's so much trust because when someone starts a new business, it's hard and there are no guarantees that it's going to be successful. So for these 3 ladies to just immediately believe that I was going to be able to create something successful, that meant so much to me. And so there was a lot of manifesting during this growth in my business, meaning I couldn't take all 3 at once. And I love the niche atmosphere that I've got, which is enabling these professional women. Some of them are young in college and some of them are older with children. But what I love is that they are able to utilize their professional skills in accounting at different levels and also balance with schoolwork or friends or family. And it's just really a nice, sweet spot to be balanced.
And I love that. And it's so funny because Jeannie and I are marketing and outsourcing coaches. That's what we focus on. And it's really been interesting because I was on your podcast. And what's really come out of me being on other people's podcasts was one of the things that I came to realize is, yes, we love helping our clients with their marketing and we love giving them everything that they need to bring on a virtual assistant that takes all of those things off their task. But what I also realized is the flip side of that. We are so passionate about helping these people halfway around the world to get really long-term jobs and to have employers who treat them well. And it really is, when you think about it, you're so blessed to have those women who want to work in your business and who contribute every day to the growth of your business. And that's really the way we look at our team. And that's what we really encourage our clients to look at. When you bring someone on, make them a part of your team, because you can go so much further with others than you can go by yourself. But it wasn't, I knew we always had a heart for helping people overseas with jobs, but it's really starting to come out that it's really, it's kind of an equal goal, I guess. Is that how you would put it, Jeannie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So with balance, I speak about this on my podcast as well, which is some of the lessons that I've learned with this prior company this corporation I'd worked for 5 years. I had been putting in so much extra time, 10, 11, 12 hours. Part of it was they were going public and they needed the extra, and I was promised a large sum of money at the time that they went public, which, by the way, of course, I didn't get because just out of the blue, I was let go. But what I learned from that experience is where I thought that I was appreciated and that I was sacrificing really much personal and family time. And I believed that would be rewarded and recognized. And that lesson to me was you've got to create those boundaries no matter what. You've got to be able to say, I work until this time. And even as a business owner, you've got to be able to do the same thing. And trust me, I am constantly battling this. I'm reminding myself every day. But in order to gain respect really from your clients and those that you work with, you have to respect your own time. And as an example, I have a general rule of thumb that if a client just calls me out of the blue, whether I can answer or not, I won't, because it's important to really respect other people's situations. You don't know what someone's doing. And so it's just, it's been a process to learn to respect my own time and to teach others in a very professional way how to respect my time as well.
Right. It's funny because back when I owned my mortgage company, I had this closing. This is back in the day when loan packages had to be overnighted. And so we were in Virginia. The weather was fine, but the lender was somewhere, Ohio or somewhere where the weather was really bad. And so this closing was supposed to happen on a Friday and it didn't. And we had already had a little bit of a warning like Wednesday and Thursday that one, it hadn't had a clearing. And then when it got the clear to close, that they were having this massive storm. But I just remember going home like feeling so defeated, because even though you're telling people that this is most likely not going to happen, it's not going to happen, make another plan, they have their expectations and they can really pile that on pretty heavily. And I remember just getting home thinking, I did everything in my power I could do. It's like, I'm not God. Like, there's no way I can control the weather. I did all that I could do. And sometimes I think especially with women, we want to try to like do everything and please everyone and get it all done. And I think that's why so many women don't hire or delegate, is because we have this desire to be super women or something. But I love the fact that when you talk about having the boundary to not answer the phone, and I can imagine if you're working on someone's account and someone calls, you don't want to stop what you're doing. You want to stay in that account, get that done in a timely manner, and then move on to follow-up calls or emails or something. So is that something you help your staff with, is how they manage their time within the work structure?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I have a particular teammate. I call my gals teammates because I'm not their boss. I don't take on that persona as the boss, but we're a team. And she had talked about a client who talks and talks and talks and talks. And there's a very professional way to stop that. And you schedule a certain time and say, I've got a hard stop at noon. And then when noon comes, whether you have anything that you have scheduled after noon or not, it doesn't matter. I've got a hard stop at noon. And then when that comes, you actually stop the call. And hey, if there's any follow-up, please send me an email. Because if you allow a client to continue to talk, then that's on you. You've got to be able to set some boundaries again.
I love it.
Yeah. And that's why my go-to is I have a hard stop. You could say, I've got another appointment, but really I've got a hard stop doesn't even say you've got anything after that. You're just like, I've got to stop, and nobody can question that.
Right. Yes. Well, this is fantastic. And so do you feel like these are concepts that you also teach to your clients? Because obviously you and all of your teammates are using these. Because I do feel like there's so many things that get in the way of business owners making money, and you're in their finances. So maybe you see where they're spending too much money, maybe where they're not spending enough money. And I'm sure when you're talking with them, you can figure out really quickly if they're not using their time wisely. So do you actually talk to them about time management as well as finance management?
Yes, in a roundabout way, the way I describe accounting is, and it's an investment. And so I'll tell my clients that you need to do what you do best. You've got a passion for whatever your business is. When you have to focus on accounting, or we'll say anything else that's not your expertise, it gives you a headache, whatever, then don't do it. Because if you can just offload that to a professional, you would likely make twice as much money per hour in the thing that you're best at, and instead of trying to save a few dollars by struggling through it and doing it incorrectly. And so I love to take that off of owners' shoulders, the whole accounting piece. And the other thing that I love is, like you said, to teach them how they can do better. But what people generally don't realize is that your financial statements, they're a story. And who doesn't want to have a story about their business on a monthly basis, not when the year is over and like, oh, that's your past story. Sorry, there's nothing you can do about it, but this is your story right now. How can you pivot this month? And really, I love to teach them how to read their financial story. And it really is eye-opening. I remember very specifically when I was in my early 20s and I was working for this sports uniform company, and they were getting really big, but money was really tight, and they were never really able to get their bills paid on time. And so the mentality was, we've got to sell more. We've got to get more high schools and colleges to place more orders. And as this timid 20-something-year-old, I was like, well, I could see it clearly. And I mustered up the courage to say, look, you can sell 2 million uniforms and you're going to be worse off, because look, you're selling it at this price, but look at your cost of goods sold. And there was a light bulb like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter how much we sell if our expenses aren't less than what we're selling. And it seems fairly obvious, but two things is, a lot of times business owners are literally just focused on the top dollar, just revenue. The other thing was, you got to have good data. So if you've got maybe just a bookkeeper that is your mom's next door neighbor, and she's just putting in information, you can't look at your financials and make good decisions based on those. But if you invest in an accounting professional, and it doesn't have to be a super expensive one, but just a fractional professional, then you really are able to make those decisions and change the trajectory of your business before it's too late.
Yes. I still have some one-on-one clients, and I was working with a client last week, and she's been a client since 2016, so for a long time. And when I first started working with her, she was really charging. And it took a really long time, little increments of going up. And every time she would raise her prices, she just knew that no one was ever going to hire her. That was just the end of the world. And so we went through this whole thing. And so it's evolved over the years. And we were actually laughing that day about how far she's come and over some of the fears she's overcome and accomplished. But then she was talking about doing merchandise management as an interior designer. She's got a client who hasn't closed on the house yet. So she's buying all these things, unloading them from her vehicle, putting them in her house and storing them. And then also she was talking about like, I'm not getting paid for all the times that I'm doing this, this, and this with a client. And I said, we need to put another line item on your contract that says project management and merchandise management and decide what do you want your hourly rate for that to be. And so we had this conversation. And then I think she, like normal people, she goes to, well, I'm so busy. Like, how am I even going to keep track of it? And I said, don't overthink it. At the end of the night, just on your calendar, document really quickly what you did. So when you have time, it's whatever time you're going to get everything to your bookkeeper, you can just look at the end of each day and say, okay, well, that was project management or merchandise management for these 3 clients. And this is the amount of time. So it is interesting, like how it's just little things that we can do that change things. But if you're not having a conversation with someone, and I think a lot of times if people don't have a coach that's looking over their numbers or someone like you who's looking over those numbers and having that conversation, you end up never charging for project management or merchandise management, and you're leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table over the years, and you become resentful.
Yes. And along with that, I love that you brought that up, is oftentimes we just feel like we're people pleasers and we have to please every single one of our clients, whatever they need. But as we learn and grow, and I hope that we all do, which is you've got to be able to let clients go. Just because they're your clients does not mean you need to hang on to them. It's going to help your business grow if you can let go of clients that aren't serving you well. Let go of I have to make everybody happy. And I've put that into practice. I've learned some hard lessons and they're great. I mean, hard lessons are lessons nonetheless. And I was actually looking at my financial statements today, which honestly, I haven't done in this particular way that I'm going to tell you. And I was thinking, how have I grown? Has my business exploded on the second year versus the first year? And what I saw was in the first year, I had a 24% profit. And alone, that's like, well, great. I don't even know what to compare that to. So then I looked at this year so far, year to date, and I have a 39% profit, which is fantastic. But guess what? My top level number is less. I am making less revenue, but my net income is better this year. And it's like, what? How can that happen? It is definitely 100% for reasons like letting clients go that are costing me money. Mm-hmm. And really just to be able to see that, recognize that, and not just keep working your butt off for those that don't appreciate you and they don't see your value and they take your time. And you really have to be strong enough to let those people go.
Yeah, that's a hard decision. It's a hard decision. And I've had to make that in my business before as well. The business I have, aside from this one, it was terrifying to let a client go. And she had been with me for years, but it got to the point where she wasn't implementing what we had been discussing. Mm-hmm. And she was not only taking up my time with extra things that I wasn't billing her for, but also the amount of energy draining. Whenever I had to meet with her, I was like, oh, do it. Let's pick up that energy and let's go. And then with Kirsten's help, actually, I finally let her go. It was like, oh, I could breathe again. It just felt such a relief.
That's such a great point, is how do you feel? And I'm going to implement this. How do you feel when you're about to talk to your next client? And that is such a big indicator that sometimes we just don't think about. But if we're feeling that way, then sit in that and consider letting that client go.
Yeah. And that's just something we always have to remind ourselves about and our clients. So I feel like, and Jeanne we both will probably attest to this. I feel like most business owners hate doing their bookkeeping, right? They don't like doing bookkeeping. And if they can hand that off early on to someone who will, like you said, go over their financials, teach them how to read them, they will make more money exponentially in the long run. And I think that's a hard conversation to have because again, they think, well, I'm just documenting what I spent. But the reality is, like you said, figuring out little ways to tweak things can make all the difference in how much money you bring home. So I do feel like do you find that you're getting more business owners that are just starting their businesses coming on? Or do you feel like you're really getting businesses that wait 3 or 4 years to come on with an accountant?
I've been thinking about my sweet spot. I used to take brand new business owners, and I really have a soft spot for new business owners. But one thing that I'm going to really be vetting any new clients and a lot better. And one of those things is telling them to do, and they're not communicating well, then you've got to quickly be able to let them go and recognize those signs in the beginning. I would say my sweet spot right now is established businesses that have a full-time accountant that don't need it. And so I'm able to come in with my fractional accounting and my team so I can put someone on payroll and someone on accounts payable and really just kind of divide and conquer. And I can save so much money for this business owner. And so it's really a win-win situation.
I love it. Well, speaking of that, how can people get in touch with you?
Oh, I'll tell you how they can. These are the ways that you can get in touch with me. Probably the best is send me an email, Jen at Rise Accounting LLC. You can also visit my website, which is riseaccountingllc.com.
I love it. And we'll put all of your information in the show notes below. So this has been a fantastic conversation, and we'll have to have you back.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. This is a great podcast.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you so much, Jen, for joining us today. We so appreciate it and for sharing all of your experience and all your knowledge with our listeners. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Six Figure Business Mastery Podcast. If you enjoyed listening to this episode and you are ready to leverage video marketing on all online platforms, or maybe even start your own video podcast, then you need to check out the Done For You and Done With You program at themarketingvaadvantage.com and take your business to the next level.